Hello and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that only had 3 weeks to train for this episode. It's Niall Moore.
So, Mr. Hoffmeyer, you expect me to talk?
Hello, Moneypenny. Oh, dude.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, second out short. What's your history, Niall, with the Bond franchise? Because you and I, we've been talking movies since 2008. And I don't think we've ever really talked about James Bond. We've talked about a lot of Zemeckis movies, but we've never talked. We've never really talked James Bond. So, what is your You pitched No Time to Die, of course. I mean, big blockbuster, made $774 million worldwide, tied up Daniel Craig's run, 5-film run. But what's your experience with Bond, and what are your favorite Bond movies?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Favorite and best.
Start with,
can we do that? What's your favorite and what's the best?
My introduction to Bond is based on what was on television when I was growing up. Every year, one of the TV channels would have this James Bond season where one night a week, which I think was Wednesdays, they would put on a James Bond movie at 7:30. So we'd sit around as a family and we'd watch whatever James Bond movie was on. So they would run it right the way through from Dr. No through Lazenby, through Roger Moore, Dalton, and on to Brosnan, and basically you would get to watch all of these movies every single year. So it came, I must have seen most of the James Bond movies probably 10 times, just because of them being on so often. It's kind of comfort food almost. And then to kind of when it comes to my favorite and best, that's, I think my favorite is You Only Live Twice. The classic Connery with the volcano base and the rocket that goes up and eats other rockets and all
ninjas.
Of that, and ninjas fighting in volcanoes, and it's fantastic. I just love it. And then best,
I feel like a few come to mind when it comes to this.
Can I do a best per actor?
Yeah, sure.
I think for Connery you got to go Goldfinger. That's the prototypical if you wanted to show someone what classic 60th Bond was, you show them that. You've got the scene with the girl painted gold on the bed. You've got the oft parodied scene with the laser going up to cut him in half, where and it's got the ridiculous plot to irradiate all the gold in Fort Knox.
Yeah.
It's just
and one of the greatest names of all
insane.
time, right? One of the greatest names of all time.
Auric Goldfinger. That's something Bond is always known for, though, the ridiculous names. They named Denise Richards Christmas Jones just so that Pierce Brosnan could have a single pun at the end.
I thought Christmas only came once a year.
That's the only reason they named her that, is just because they wanted to have that line.
Oh,
I can totally
man.
see the writers sitting around and high-fiving each other when it's yes,
yeah,
that's the thing we're doing.
Wait, we have to build a character now? Crap, we got the joke.
Right, she'll be a nuclear physicist. That's
Can I ask you a question?
Met quite a few.
Oh, have you met?
Yeah.
Now, having watched all the Bond movies multiple times, The World Is Not Enough with Denise Richards, it's just not surprising, is it? Did Denise Richards' character anger you as it did most people? Because it seemed right on par for a Bond movie.
Not really, because there are basically two kinds of female characters in Bond movies. There are the ones that have the exact right skill set for the job that Bond then has his way with, or there are the ones who are secretly villains who Bond has his way with. It's pretty much that is the trope. It's Bond will basically good or bad, he'll sleep with them first and then figure it out. But I didn't mind it at the time.
Kid, you don't really think about Bond girls in that regard. You just kind of think of Bond girls, and then the older you get, you're like, wait a second. And as much as I love Skyfall, the one Bond woman who gets shot with the Macallan on her head, you're like, man, what just happened? Why Bond? This isn't great. it's an odd franchise, man, and like.
Well, yeah, it's got a history of portraying women in a very specific light, mostly as objects.
And I was watching the Honest trailer for No Time to Die, and then they said that this the main MacGuffin in this movie is basically like an STD. Like once you get it, it never leaves you.
The plot is basically lifted from the video game Metal Gear Solid. In that game, the main character had this virus called Fox Die, which basically killed certain people if you came in contact with them. It's the exact same plot.
Oh, and it's kind of like The Rock as well that they pointed out. You go to an island with chemical warfare, and then they're gonna blow up
and
millions
then,
of people.
Blow it up. Yeah, and then blow it up.
All right, so you grew up watching the Bond films. They're kind of like an event. You watched them all in order. Where does No Time to Die fit within? I mean, you can't rank them all in a row, but I mean, where does No Time to Die? Like, how do you feel No Time to Die fits within the Bond rankings overall? Is it Doctor No, or is it? Oh, geez Louise, what's some of the least regarded Bond films?
Die Another Day.
Yeah, or is it Die Another Day? So if we're on that scale, where is it?
I would I rate it quite highly. I quite enjoyed it. It's got a lot of thematic similarities to On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yes.
Not just with the musical cues, like, that's obviously deliberate, but the whole Bond actually wanting to be settled down with, this one person and, being ready to actually quit. So that's kind of a huge thematic link. And then the musical cues obviously then help, where you've got Louis Armstrong, We Have All the Time in the World playing, throughout. And that actually, it makes the ending hit harder. Got that theme, and then, it brings you back to that movie where it's like at the very end, his wife gets killed, and it's just like, oh, and now at the end of this one, it's like he can never see, his kid and this woman he loves again. There's that sense of loss, and you have this kind of this rhyming. It's like you've got a thematic mirroring, or a thematic kind of through line, which kind of matches.
Yeah, because in the beginning they say that, we have all the time in the world, and then she's on a train, and then it's about getting them back together, and then he blows up.
Exactly.
Oh gosh. It's kind of interesting watching this. The Craig saga has been kind of a roller coaster, would you say, where it goes off with Casino Royale, which Martin Campbell directed it. You have Eva Green just being awesome. Jeffrey Wright, Mads Mikkelsen, insane poker that I don't even want to think about the odds for how that would work out. But you have good like action scenes. You establish him as a tank. And then you have Quantum of Solace, which got hit hard by the writer's strike.
I think I've blanked Quantum of Solace from my memory. I don't actually remember anything that happened other than something to do with oil, and there was a desert and they needed water or something.
I rank it as the worst Bond film because it feels like a Jason Bourne film. So technically, I think it's probably better than some of the other Bond films. But watching it, you're like, this is kind of a Bourne flick. And I like Olga Kurylenko in it, but it's just, it got hit really hard by the writer's strike. And then you get Skyfall by Sam Mendes with Roger Deakins cinematography that should have won. And what I think it should have won Best Cinematography, Skyfall. It's one of the best looking action films that you know what, I'm just going to say it, ever seen. I think it's an absolutely beautiful movie.
And it's got a great story as well.
Oh, great story.
Like Skyfall is, again, it's got the emotional stakes, with M, who's a character who, they carried her over from the Brosnan era. She's been in, what, 7, 8 Bond movies?
Yeah, they just tossed, because you're right. She started with Brosnan. This finished her arc. You have an excellent villain. You have some standout action scenes, and it just, and once again, Roger Deakins, like, beautiful flick. And then you get the Spectre, which a lot of people hate, but I don't really remember the action scenes in it. And I remember thinking Christoph Waltz, like, I did it all. I am the reason for everything. And you're like, oh, brother. But like, I do love he and Craig and Lea Seydoux. I think there's some cool action scenes. I liked it. I like Batista in it. I like the train fight. I'm always down for a train fight. But Yeah, it's pretty good. And then you go out, and then you go to this one. So it's kind of like an up, down, up, down, up for his
Yeah,
franchise.
I would agree. I think, if I was just to rank Daniel Craig's, I would say Skyfall, Casino Royale, this one, Spectre, and then Quantum of Solace. That would be the order I would put them in.
Yeah, that's exact. I think this falls right in the middle. No Time to Die.
Yeah.
It's not Skyfall or Casino Royale, but it's not Quantum of Solace or Spectre.
Yeah, it's definitely on the side of being, good rather than the other two are, average to poor.
Yeah, and you know what I like about No Time to Die is I think Craig is very dour in these films, but there's still a good amount. This movie has some life to it, though. I mean, just Ana de Armas, Paloma is an absolute
She's great.
highlight. I had 3 weeks of training, and then they're like, all right, see you later, peace. I really I think Leah Sado's really good in it. Obviously Billy Magnuson. I just like his role when he pops up as Logan Ash. I like this is kind of a fun name. I like that the fourth film builds up Blofeld to being the ultimate, and then they sort of Rian Johnson Last Jedi it and just kill them all. And they're like, oh, this is Rami Malek's movie, who is, because of their schedules, he never really shot with Daniel Craig. And you can kind of feel that in this movie. You don't get the Sean Bean, Pierce Brosnan vibes or the Javier Bardem, Daniel Craig vibes, but I still kind of like him as a villain. What do you think about the villain in this movie?
He's believable.
Yeah.
He does a good job of selling, the menacing. He's obviously an Oscar-winning actor. Craig has been quite lucky that how many of his villains have been Oscar winners? Like,
Yeah. So Mads.
Christoph Waltz.
Oh wow. Javier
Waltz.
Bardem was nominated at least.
Bardem. He won for No Country for Old Men, didn't
Oh
he?
yeah, and Waltz won twice.
Yeah, and then Rami Malek.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
It's not like they're lacking for acting talent in their villains.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. He goes up against a bunch of Oscar winners. Yeah,
And he doesn't look out of place.
no.
I watched a documentary about his James Bond journey this afternoon, actually. It's one of the extras on the No Time to Die iTunes, and it was basically showing like all the uproar before Casino Royale from his casting. And it was just like, oh, blonde Bond, what the hell is this? This is like ridiculous. He's ugly. He's like, he's just not going to do it. And I'd seen him in Layer Cake, for example. Like, he was fantastic in it.
That
It was
sold
just like,
me.
I was just like, yeah, okay. The dude from Layer Cake, okay, yeah, great. But yeah, then obviously Casino Royale came out, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, okay, Daniel Craig is amazing.
And you know what's nuts too? I feel like there's two groups: people who had seen Layer Cake and people who had not.
Yeah, probably.
I think, why is that guy from A Kid in King Arthur's Court gonna be Bond? But then other people were like, yo, that dude from Layer Cake and Road to Perdition is gonna be Bond. I love fandom, Niall. By love, I mean kind of hate, because Batman, when Michael Keaton was cast in the role, he got 100,000 handwritten letters were sent
because he was a comedic actor, and it's like, I can't believe they're gonna make this comedic actor Batman.
Oh god! And then when Heath Ledger signed on, everyone just lost their minds. Like, Heath Ledger is Joker? Oh, that guy from 10 Things I Hate About You? What? Barf.
Or A Knight's Tale.
Yeah. I had a lot of confidence, but I think the trailer, and I remember when they released the images of Daniel Craig walking out of the water, like just straight up jacked. I think that then
that did the job of selling it. It's like, okay, I get it. He is jacked.
Dude's a tank. And then his scenes with Eva Green, I think they were on another level. Those two, they just had such great chemistry. I think they really sold that movie and their love story for sure. And you know what I liked about Casino Royale is it featured the really cool intro with the parkour and him running through doors, but then it featured such absurd poker that you could not take the movie. Like, it felt like old school Bond. It really did. So it was kind of po-faced, but also the poker was so insane that
it just reminds me of Austin Powers, where he's like, he's playing, I think, blackjack, and he's like, he like stays on 5. He's like, I also like to live dangerously. It's just like, that is the most ridiculous move you could possibly be making at this point.
You had straight flushes, royal flushes, 4 of a kind in those hands.
Yeah, that's movie poker, right?
Yeah,
Like,
you're right.
You could sit at a table all night and see nothing but like a 2-pair winning.
And then
It doesn't quite build the tension or the stakes in movie land.
I was really hoping to see John Malkovich in that scene with an Oreo, just sort of opening it
Well,
and closing it during that scene.
It's obviously set in the Last Action Hero universe, where it's like bullets bounce off you. Every poker game has a ridiculously stacked deck. I'd love to see Jack Slater try and play poker in the real world. It's like, 2-pair, what is this?
I don't have 6 aces? Like, what's going on? You know what's interesting too about Craig? I didn't think he was coming back after Spectre because he said he would rather slit his wrists than come back as Bond. But they must have dumped an entire Aston Martin a gold watch the size of an Aston Martin on his front lawn to get him back for this.
Well, so he said, I saw an interview with him on that exact subject earlier today as well, and what he said was, the best analogy you can come up with is if you went and asked somebody 200 meters before finishing a marathon if they want to do another one, you'd probably get a similar answer. It had been they asked him, a couple of days after finishing the shoot for Spectre. He'd broken his leg in shooting. It had been like a really difficult shoot.
Mm-hmm.
He was tired, he was stressed, and he said he kind of regrets the way he said it. He said he should have been slightly more tactful and just been like, oh, it was tough. But
you know what though, I feel for him too, because I once you do night shoots. After 2 weeks of night shoots that aren't even James Bond that big, you want to quit the industry, Niall. So at the end of Spectre and all of its woes, I could see him saying that. Sometimes, man, people are like, hey, Mark, what job you doing next? I'm like, I'm not coming back. I was like, I'm not doing anymore. I was like, I'm done. And then they would see me on the next job and they're like, Mark, I thought you were done.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you get burnt out. It's the same with anything. Straight away after doing it, you're going to be like, no, hell no, I'm not doing that ever again. But then, the rose-tinted glasses come on a month later, and you're like, oh, well, actually, most of the experience was rewarding. There were some negatives, but and then you go right back to it.
Absolutely. No, you got this. You know what's interesting? You work on something that's really rough, but then you look back at it a week later and you're like, oh, I had some good times on that. So absolutely. And you know what I like too about this movie? He does not phone this movie in. He has some speeches, like when he is talking to Madeline. And he's just talking about how, I would do everything again for this. Like, I would never turn anything back. Like his speeches to her. And at the end, when it's Leah Seydoux and Daniel Craig just on their respective walkie-talkies or phones, just crying, or earpieces, just acting their faces off, he brought it to this role. And I listen, I'm not saying I'm going to give him respect for getting paid a ton of money to play James Bond, but he probably could have phoned this movie in. But I still think he found this is one of his better Bonds. I think it's better than Quantum of Solace, better than Spectre. So I guess I'll put it right in the middle once again. But yeah, I mean, and also you brought this up. We were talking about this before, but and other people have brought this up as well, as I really like the On Her Majesty's Secret Service tie-in with this movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, all the time in the world, and you just have, as opposed to Madeline dying, he dies. Just the two of them and their relationship and how he actually would settle down. And I do like that this Bond, like Lazenby, is a little more sensitive, and he's also a bruiser. Lazenby and Craig were the bruisers of the Bond bunch. Also probably some of the more emotional ones. So I kind of dig that about him. I like my Bond's emo and running through doors. I don't know if are you more of a Connery guy who just sort of womanizes drinks and then murders people?
Yeah, I do quite like Connery. I've definitely got a soft spot for the Connery movies. They're the archetype of the Bond movie. They set the tone and the standard
Absolutely.
Then Lazenby, I like On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I think it's it's a solid Bond movie. I don't get some people don't really like it. It's like, oh, no, Lazenby's rubbish, but he's actually quite an accomplished Bond.
Yeah.
He infiltrates, a secret lab, is able to pull off the suave kind of thing. You buy him getting all the female attention. He's obviously a champion skier, as all James Bonds need to be.
And a great
I
beach
wonder,
fighter.
there are certain things you need to be good at as a Bond, and that's skiing, snowmobiling, probably any water sports you probably need to be good at.
Drinking.
Yeah, well, that goes without saying.
Hanging from
I noticed
things.
they were playing. Remember, we used to play the peanut game back in Chongju.
Mm-hmm.
Felix and Bond were playing a variation of that in the club in Jamaica when they first meet.
Yeah, I love that scene. That brought back. That's a nerve-wracking peanut game. I entered a bunch of those, and I had to buy a couple times, but it was nerve-wracking. I hated buying rounds of Cass for everybody.
Well, everybody hated drinking them too. They were cheap, so yeah.
Cass and Height, that's where it was at. There's no IPAs when we were there at the time.
Oh, so, no, not at all.
But yeah,
I was drinking some Cass the other week actually. I went for some Korean food. Yeah, I had to get the taste of nostalgia in.
Yeah, we did the same. I had a Cass on my 40th birthday, and it tasted good, man. I mean, it's just a lager. I'll taste a lager all day. It's fine. But yeah, I mean, also too with this movie, we can talk about compared to the rest of the Bonds, but this is the longest Bond movie ever made.
By a distance, I'd say. By 15 minutes.
I feel like other Bond movies feel longer. I've watched a couple of the Roger Moore ones where you're just thinking to yourself like, where am I? What is happening? This movie is taking forever. This one feels quite propulsive because
it's well paced.
Mm-hmm.
There are no kind of lulls in the plot. It's long, but the script is reasonably tight. There's very little wasted dialogue or wasted scenes.
It's just him, like, and I also like that there's also room to breathe for certain moments. So I love Moneypenny, Q, and Craig kind of just hanging out in his flat, drinking wine with his cat, and hacking some files. And also, I think Nomi, I do think she's very consumed with 007 numbers, but I do like how eventually she just, Bond helped me. All right, Bond gets his numbers back. Like I get it. You're a super secret top agent, and this old dude comes back, and you have your number. Like I get the frustration for that. Did you like that new character? Did you like her? Did you like Paloma or what?
Well, I thought Paloma was great. Anna Darmus is amazing. She apparently just got the role because she'd been working with Craig in Knives Out previously, and he loved it. So he's like, yeah, here, come do some Bond. And I like that they didn't force. If that had been a Connery movie, she definitely would have ended up in bed with, the 45, 50-year-old man, rather than, just being there to help.
And then dunked in oil.
Yes, probably, or gold paint, or,
Well, in this movie, what would it be? So we have oil, we have paint. This one's about poison. An ice block?
So, maybe. There is a lot of ice in it. Maybe she'd just get poisoned by whatever the weapon was called.
Yeah, I guess. But
Heracles.
Heracles. Oh my gosh. I love that it was really refreshing when they just, okay, see you later, nice to meet you, and then they just go on and she goes about her way. Did you like Nomi as well, or?
Yeah, I think she had the right blend of kind of exuberance and obvious skill level. I think is the thing. She was obviously like new to the role, but she knew what she was doing as well, and she had that kind of confidence. But at the same time, she knew enough that when it was like, oh, it's Bond, like
yeah.
It's like Cristiano Ronaldo just went back to Manchester United. It's like, oh, all of a sudden, you're giving up the number 7 shirt. The real owner is back.
And it stings, right? Because you're the new hotshot. But I mean, CR7 and 007, like everyone knows that.
But you also know at that point that it's not going to be permanent. Like, it's like, okay, look, they're coming back for one last hurrah. play nice, let them have their moment, and then they'll go off into the sunset, and you will still be 007.
I mean, and they're also helping save the world, helping you save the world. So you can kind of, this isn't like a comeback tour on the PGA golf tour, and you have to give up your. I don't know if they have numbers, but you know what I mean. You know what I love too about this movie is it sort of drops the traditional cold open, and instead goes to Madeline and her gunfight with Safin. And in the theater when I watched this movie, when she gets up from the bed and shoots Safin several times, the theater cheered. That's a cool moment. I like young Madeline. I liked her in that scene. She's a resourceful little thing.
Well, she sat there playing on her Tamagotchi to start with. That dates scene quite nicely. But yeah, she shows she's a little badass.
Just popped up and shot him. No one saw that coming. And I love the mask too, the look of it. And then, I like that Safin actually saves her. It's a really brutal, it's a very murdery open scene because you have the classic mom on couch, the classic alcoholic mom on a couch who gets shot, and then she fights back. That was cool. We didn't get a Union Jack parachute, but we didn't get a bungee jump. We just get this cool opening. I thought that was kind of nice.
But the thing is, it still ended up being a cold open. It was 24 minutes long.
Yes, 24 minutes before the title card.
It cuts to that whole Italy sequence, which was much more traditional, like Bond cold open, except it ends not on a moment of triumph, but basically him saying goodbye to her and just walking off.
Stuffing her on the train, and then she's running on the train.
Yeah.
Man, I will say, I think two of the best shots. Also, you know what? I'm just going to keep going with this thought. Two of my favorite moments from the film are during that scene before the 24-minute title card, when he dives underneath the concrete blockade, and the car. The car just jumps it. That's cool. That's a really neat gag right there. That's one of the things that really sticks into my memory. I really dug that. I also like his jump off of that bridge. I think that's a really cool moment. And then it's a classic Daniel Craig moment, because right after he jumps from that, he just smacks into the wall. This is a Bond who does nothing gracefully. Every time he lands on something.
If that had been Brosnan or Moore, they would have swung down, just landed, and just been like, oh yes, I have my swagger. Whereas Craig, he gets all the broken ribs and all the punishment.
It makes me so happy. And then he gets on a motorcycle, and they're in Matera, Italy, and the stunt coordinator Lee Morrison came up with that awesome wall jump where he just, I guess he was going something like 60 kilometers an hour or 37 miles per hour, and just jumps up that ramp and lands on the cobblestone. That's a really cool bike gag. And they kind of went back to maybe Skyfall, which also has some really good motorcycle kind of dirt bike gags. So that kind of brought back. But
it's not just Skyfall. If you look at the history of Bond, there is so little CG related to the action scenes. They do so much of it just with real cars, real bikes, and they're just like, okay, what are we doing now? It's like, oh, today we're going to flip an Aston Martin 17 times. Cool.
Oh, that's Casino Royale, right? When they flip that. And then was it Live and Let Die, the car flip?
Yeah.
I love the practical gags in these movies. And also too, one of my favorite practical gags is when Bond gets back into his car when he's back in London, and he just flies out of the parking space, does a quick U-turn, and then just speeds up that tunnel. I love that, they actually still feature these moments. It just makes me happy. It's just kind of cool.
Well, because that's Bond. Mm-hmm. He drives an Aston Martin really, really fast around beautiful cities. Or beautiful locations in Europe. You have those lingering establishing shots where it's like, here is our hero. You can see that he is in the Italian Riviera. Okay, great. Or he is in London. Here's some landmarks. Great. Without having to just put up a title. Jason Bourne movies like Amsterdam, Netherlands. It's like, okay.
They show the Statue of Liberty, New York City.
Yeah.
And
also, they trust the audience to kind of be like, okay, I know where that is.
Yeah. Oh, there's a shard. Okay, I can put those to or the Ferris wheel, which gets shown so
Yeah,
often. And also too, I
yeah,
mean,
the London Eye.
Bond loves his Italian chase scenes. So you have
Oh
what
yeah.
Quantum of Solace, you have Spectre, and now you have No Time to Die. Like he's all about getting chased around in Italy.
Well, apparently the was it Mantera was one of the locations they scouted for Quantum of Solace, but didn't end up using. So they went back there for this one because they were like, "Oh, that's a really cool location for an Italian car chase. Let's use it."
Yeah, that one sort of ties together all the great things about like that opening scene before the credits is sort of a reminder of how good Craig has been because he and Leah Sado have excellent chemistry. She had a really good 2021. She was in French Dispatch, France, and she was in No Time to Die. Those are three movies I really like. But yeah, she.
I didn't like French Dispatch.
Oh, was it too
I
cute
was
for you?
I was disappointed. I was disappointed with it because I love Wes Anderson, but she was good in it. But yeah, as a whole, I was a bit disappointed.
I guess I'm just a Wes Anderson stan, so anything comes out, it makes me happy. But yeah, like you get the tender moments with him, the kind of the love scene, like the two of them. They're also just dressed to the nines, looking awesome. Then you get he gets blown up a lot, and he always survives.
He does.
He gets destroyed by Blofeld's bomb at Vesper's grave. Now it's a bit naive of him to okay, Vesper's grave. You could be any criminal in the world, no James Bond, and just go, he's going to go back there. Let's just put something there just in case. Like,
Yeah,
just...
it seems like very, very naive on his part to be like, oh, hey, yeah, she was working for Spectre. I'll totally go to her grave where they know that I was in love with her and stuff, and they definitely won't predict that.
You're the world's biggest Manchester United fan, but you're also a super spy. You're presumed dead. But then, if I was a criminal, I would just tap into the camera systems at the stadium and just be like, he's going to come back. He's going to come back to one of these Man U games. So I'm going to wait and see this. Like, yeah, and then he goes back and blames her. But then you get the really cool motorcycle gag, which goes back to Skyfall. You get the Italian chase scenes. You get just him looking really pissed off at his significant other. Remember Vesper, how pissed off he was about that? Also, like, his gags have never been the most high tech, but I love his car, how bulletproof those windows are, and then it just spins around shooting people. And I felt terrible for the people of this Italian town because bullets are flying everywhere. But yeah, then you do that, then you get her on the train, a lot of train bits, Spectre, Casino Royale. So it's like a best of Bond, though it's like summary before the title, before Billie Eilish drops. So I kind of like that. You kind of make it very familiar, but you kind of, I don't know, it just reminded me of my favorite parts of the Bond franchise. I don't know if you had that at all.
Yeah, it's definitely, it hits a lot of notes.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, you could hit every single one of those notes throughout an entire picture, and you've got, it's like, oh yeah, that's a Bond film. And that's just condensed into, the opening, like 24 minutes or whatever. And then you have, the typical James Bondy credits with guns and women and bullets flying everywhere, and yet another variation of a tune with like the James Bond motif kind of playing behind it. So that one I quite like. I don't mind like the Billie Eilish one. It's a decent tune.
I was hoping Guns Go Bang would win the Oscar, but Billie Eilish, I mean, it's not a bad song. I was listening to it this morning when I was rewatching this movie. I was like, yeah, this isn't bad. This is good. I don't know if it's gonna jump into like the top 5, but it's still a solid opening song. I dig it.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, there have been so many good Bond themes. I don't know if that would get anywhere near it.
No. What's your favorite?
Diamonds Are Forever is a good one.
Yeah, that's strong. Live and Let Die?
I do like Live and Let Die. That's a good one. We Have All the Time in the World, which is used in this movie quite extensively.
All right, I'm gonna go with Live and Let Die. All right, I have a question for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how awesome is Bond's house compound in Jamaica?
I'd say it's a 9.5 probably. Like, I think it's based on GoldenEye, which is Ian Fleming's Jamaican retreat.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That shower?
When you've got like a separate like walk over like stepping stones to get to your bedroom area. It's yeah, that would be probably 20K a night Airbnb, maybe.
Yeah. And no one's messing with that place either. They're like, there's a really
No.
cranky guy there who spearfishes and does all that. And you know what's crazy? Daniel Craig, he has stayed in some pretty great shape for these movies. I know he didn't do a lot of stunts in this. You know, during a bunch of the interviews, he was just talking about how, you know, he's wrecked his shoulder, he's wrecked his knee, so he had to rely a lot more on stunt doubles for this movie. But dude still gets in shape for it. He's I would say he and Lazenby are probably they're probably the most in shape Bonds. The other guys were just sort of dudes who murder people and drink martinis.
Connery was Mr. Universe before he was Bond.
I guess for 62 he was in really good shape.
In in the 60s, being that ultra muscular wasn't the physique.
No, and there weren't scientists. You know, I bet you Connery was probably working out with a cigarette and a beer during doing curls, and then slugging some beer.
Curling steins of beer with one hand and curling cigarettes with the other.
A whole carton, just smoking them. But yeah, I mean, it's just impressive. Like, I think Craig has been really dedicated to this franchise, and he's stuck with it through the up and downs. And I think this is a good victory lap for him, and it's a good way to sort of close out his run. And I mean, you're not gonna go up too much higher because this movie has a 7.3 IMDb score. It made over 700 million worldwide. It has an 83% tomato meter score, 68% Metacritic. So I mean, this is a pretty
good movie.
Yeah. No, pretty, and yeah, it moves by quick, and it's got a lot of actors, I think, especially like Lea Seydoux, just like acting their faces off. Even Ralph Fiennes, like there's that drinking scene where Bond goes in. I love when Bond calls out M for his drinking in this movie. He's like, "Oh yeah, you thirsty?" And then they just start yelling at each other. When Bond is calling you out for your midday whiskey drinking, Niall. Oh, I have a question, Niall.
Yeah.
You're drinking, and Bond calls you out for it. Like, what's your feeling knowing how much Bond drinks?
Shame. I think that's when I don't know. It depends on your character. You either go shame or pride.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, you know James Bond? He told me I drink too much. And he just
that pussy.
Hey, Mark, are you a secret agent with him? No. I'm an analyst. So yeah, when he called them out, but I do like Ralph Fiennes, and he does come around. Like, I like that M says this was on me. I do. You know what I like most about this weapon that they have in this film is that targeting. I mean, into all Spectre gets killed, but without collateral. So creating something that can attack a DNA strand of people and not have collateral damage, that seems like something any government would pursue and then mess up, and then it would go horribly, horribly wrong. But I do like
That's how you get zombies.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You could have Bond zombie, World War Z Bond. It's not early. Like, I am going to have a volcano base and eat satellites. I am going to blow up the world. This is a targeted nanobot technology plot. And listen, I know nothing about nanobots, but I like this weapon, and I like that people would want this weapon, and I like that this weapon is made under the books. And that laboratory sequence where they just slaughter those people in the laboratory is brutal, by the way. I do love.
I liked their electromagnetic lift escape mechanism.
Oh,
I thought that I can't see that ever being tried in real life, but it was a cool. That's what you want to see in a James Bond movie, where it's like, okay, I can totally get why that would work.
Oh, and then they even have a concrete ramp. Everything they do is so perfect that when they drop down their magnet slide, they can slide down a concrete slab. Oh,
yeah.
Man. And also, I love that bit about smallpox. And then he's like, I would put what does he say? He's like, I would put Ebola in your tea.
And watch your face melt off.
Oh, you have such an imagination.
And laugh.
Yeah. I don't know why I keep forgetting about Heracles, but no, it's Heracles. And you know what's interesting too about this movie is it only made 160 million domestically. And I'm sorry, you live in the UK, I live in America. but the U.S. But like it made 160 million, 161 million if you round up domestically, and then internationally it made 613 million. So it just goes to show how much of a international property Bond is. It's kind of crazy.
Well, Bond it's worldwide. It's not probably the least America-centric of the blockbuster franchises. It's very much a kind of global, it's about, traveling around Europe and doing things like that for the most part. There are very few scenes or, there are only probably 4 or 5 Bond movies that are even set in America. Most of them are set in far-flung exotic places. It's about a British secret agent, and when the Americans are involved, it's always you've got Felix, who's kind of his mate, but otherwise they're shown as being incompetent or just
like live and let die. Oh dang!
Yeah. Oh no!
But yeah, that's a great point, and it's made outside of the U.S. But it always boggles my mind. There's very few franchises like I would say Fast and Furious and Bond are the 2 ongoing franchises that can pull huge numbers worldwide. Like I'm not talking good numbers, I'm talking huge numbers. These things just pull in bank. It's quite impressive. It makes, 613 million during the 2021 pandemic era. That's a lot of bank. That's a huge box office.
I didn't even get to see it in the theater, I don't think, because of pandemic.
Yeah, you still had. Yeah, I think we talked about this. You still had the lockdown, and you couldn't get down to it, correct?
Yeah, it was something, and then I was busy, and then I just didn't quite make the time to go and see it. I had tickets booked one night, and then I got really busy and stuck at work, and I didn't actually make it to the screening.
So you supplied your money to it, at least. Well, that's good.
Yeah, well, I got a refund, but
never mind. So what'd you think about Felix Leiter his death? Like he kind of, I don't think it was necessary. Like because you already have Madeline in there. That revenge angle, like the getting her back. You don't need the Felix Leiter death. I know it adds stakes, but I don't always.
I think it's partially about closing chapters.
I guess he dies too. Bond does as well.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, we need to get rid of Felix. Let's get rid of Bond. Let's get rid of Blofeld. Let's get rid of all of these characters.
Wow, they do, man. They really did Rian Johnson this thing, just straight up killing people off. And at the end when they're doing some people. What's the speech that M says? I have it written down, but he says, I'm gonna try to rely on my memory here. Some people live and then other people just exist, and then they're drinking their whiskey and then they blow up. So all the legacy characters just get blown up. So when the next one comes around, it happens.
Yeah, it's a fresh casting. I saw Harry Styles is now moving up in the betting to be the next Bond, which I don't know how I feel about.
Oh man, no. I think he's one of the most searched and popular people on the planet. So I guess it makes sense from a buzzy standpoint. I would like to see Idris.
Yeah, he's a bit old though. That's the problem.
But give him a Dalton. Give him back to back, shoot back to back. Do 2 movies back to back with Idris, and give him the Dalton treatment. So like Idris, we got 2 movies that you can play Bond in. You will be Bond for 2 films or 3 films, and we'll shoot them back to back. He would do it.
Yeah, I know he would. It's just more it would be an older Bond. He's in his 50s, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, he gets called back. He's on an island
must
drinking
be pushing
Macallan.
60 practically.
He's turned up Charlie, man. He kickboxes. Like he could do it.
He's like I love Idris Elba. Like he's fantastic, but yeah, I think he's a little bit old for the role. I think if they want to push it, they need to skew a little bit younger.
I think Henry Golding's cool.
The other ones I've seen, Tom Hardy. Yeah, that's another one I've seen bounced around. Like he would be good. He's a little short, but
he would just be mumbling, wouldn't he? He would just be a very mumbly
James Bond. Just a little mumbly Bond.
I'm looking at the odds right now, according to Sport Betting Dime, and let's see, Ray-Jean Page from Bridgerton and The Gray Man's
Yeah,
number one. I do not want Tom Holland. Sorry. Taron
nah.
Egerton's high up there. Callum Turner.
Taron
Oscar.
Egerton, he's already done the kind of secret agent thing in Kingsman.
Oh, Richard Madden has dropped way down, which is kind of a bummer. Dev Patel's on there. You know what? Robert Pattinson. He would never do it because he's too busy
No,
doing High Life and kind of other movies.
Batman.
Batman. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's not going to do it. But
He would have been good.
I don't. Tom Holland. I'm not hating on the guy. I just don't want to see Tom Holland as Bond. I don't want to see that earnest of a Bond. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't buy Tom Holland jumping into bed with every woman he meets. He doesn't seem to have that side to his character.
There's some good names here. Taron Egerton. I don't know. Richard Madden. Dev
Yeah,
Patel.
Richard Madden would have been good.
Yeah, after David Budd, he was in that Bodyguard movie.
Yeah, that was really good. That limited series, he was really good in that.
I think people watched that, and then he immediately went to number one as Bond because everyone just went, "Oh, he can act."
See, another one like Hiddleston, like Tom Hiddleston would be quite good.
Yeah, is he too suave though? Like he would just be too posh suave. Am I crazy?
Maybe.
And Dev Patel's high up on the charts here too.
Like Dev, I don't know if he has the action chops to pull it off. He can definitely act, but does he have has he been in any kind of action oriented roles?
Yeah, he
Not
was.
Really.
I guess, and when he is, they aren't exactly like, so Green Knight. There's really not much action in that, and then he's in let's see, he's in Hotel Mumbai, which there's not too much action in that. Chappie, no. Lion, no. So he'd be a great actor in it.
Yes.
He's 6'2".
Yeah, he's tall.
6'2" is gigantic for Hollywood actors.
Yeah, you should know. You've been doing a lot of research into that lately, at least with Tom Cruise.
So much height. Oh man, gosh. But yeah, it's I know we kind of got sidetracked there, but I mean that's where the conversation's going. And you know what's interesting? Like, do you care that much about Bond to care about who the next actor is?
No, I just want someone who's going to make the role their own.
Oh, so who would be the best? Pick one name. Who could make the role their own?
I think it would be interesting.
It's tough.
It is tough because it's not just about the actor; it's about the writing as well.
Mm-hmm.
But someone who could just pull it off. You need basically look kick-ass in a tuxedo, but have the
Connery, right?
Yeah, but basically you need to be like believable in the action as well. So it needs to be believable that, okay, you could take down these henchmen with your bare hands.
Connery, they said, moved like a cheetah, and he had the physicality and kind of the charm. Roger Moore was just straight up cheek. But he
Dalton
had a big personality.
Dalton was much more kind of a lean, kind of wiry guy who, if you saw him in the corner of the pub, you'd know that you wouldn't want to mess with him because he'd kick your ass.
That dude's wiry. I'm a slasher. But yeah, and then, I do like, I think Goldeneye, the physicality in Goldeneye, Brosnan did a great job to that. He brought a good physicality, but his is more like graceful. Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
I think physically speaking, Craig's my favorite because nothing he does. Well, no, when they're in Cuba during that gunfight and he jumps over that bar, I was like, you're 50, dude. Like, you shouldn't be able to do that. That was very slick. But other than that, I think he's very much so a battering ram. And also, I just want to say, in Cuba, I love when Paloma drives into that makeshift scaffolding area and then knocks the scientist all the way down. And she's like, and he goes, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I'm amazing. This was great." Like, I love that about that scene. Just goes and whacks that and knocks that down, and oh, that makes me so happy. And she only had 3 weeks of training. That's why they added in that 3 weeks ad lib. So
yeah, it's funny.
Because she's lying to him clearly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, man. And then also Billy. Okay, we haven't talked about this. The almost horror moment with the cars and the mist in the forest. Like, what? That provided a great trailer moment when he blows up one of those SUVs. But it kind of makes you wonder, like, when are henchmen just going to quit, Niall? Like, if you're a henchman in a world with James Bond, and you know James Bond, and you're a henchman of someone going up against him, and you know what he has done, would you remain a henchman?
Well, he's like the boogeyman for henchmen. It's like, oh, yeah, if you don't clean your gun, James Bond's going to come and get you. They probably don't believe he's real. Like, he's been retired for 5 years at this point. Nobody's seen or heard from him. These latest henchmen, they don't know Bond's coming for them. They're just like, oh, 007. Oh yeah, isn't that young girl?
Oh
know me,
yeah,
what's her face?
Yeah, he's kind of like the Baba Yaga, like Keanu Reeves was.
Yeah.
That's funny. And then, yeah, like I do think in this world, if you're a motorcycle henchman, you're the lowest of the low, because motorcycle henchmen nothing ever good happens to them. Then I think if you are a snowmobile or an equivalent henchman, you're next.
You're in trouble. I think if you're on any kind of open vehicle where you use the steering as a throttle, I think you're in trouble. So snowmobiles, motorbikes, jet skis, those are all kind of problematic for you.
Absolutely. And then there's the sedan henchman, which you're doomed. And then there's an SUV henchman, which gives you the best shot of survival. I think the worst you can do in the James Bond lore is be a scientist at a secret lair, because you will blow up.
Yes, you will probably get exploded.
I mean,
even if you think you are invincible, you're still gonna blow up.
Yeah, by a pen. I'm invincible. Also, Spectre has one of the largest explosions ever. You know how many scientists in that lab blew up? It's just, yeah. Okay, Niall, I have a question. You live in a world where, you don't pass your school tests. You don't get to a good college. You kind of have a criminal record, and the only job available to you is being a henchman. Would you, like, what kind of henchman would you be in the Bond world to potentially survive?
I think it's difficult. He's kind of indiscriminate when it comes to henchman killing.
Except for Jaws.
Yeah, he let Jaws survive. Jaws got his happy ending, at least till they run out of air.
I would be a fist-fighting henchman, and I would not want to have electronic eye near a watch with an EMP. I'm just telling you that now, Niall. But I would be a fist-fighting henchman who fights Bond not on a train or a plane or a car, just in the street.
So you basically just want to get like the karate chop to the neck and go down, and then
Yes, exactly. Or the Michael Caine from Austin Powers, where I don't have a name tag and I just lie down. So yeah. If you're fighting Bond, right? You're fighting Bond, and you put up your dukes. Like, I'm unarmed, let's box. He'll just knock you unconscious. Bond is not going to snap your neck.
No, Bond, he always responds with the requisite level of violence. So it's like, if you bring a knife, he'll bring a knife. If you've got a gun, he's got a gun. Yeah, there's no Indiana Jones style one-upmanship where you've got a sword and he just shoots you. It's like, he follows the rules. He's like, oh, I will not escalate. I will take you down on your own terms.
Oh, man. I would never want to be a second in command or the pawn of a villain who's acting as the head of the organization. I would just be the fistfight guy. And you just got to knock me unconscious. Or get one of a classic Moore or Connery judo chop to the neck. Wait, does that kill you? Or does that just hit your an artery and make you black out?
I think it just makes you black out. The Hollywood judo chop.
Yeah, that'd be ideal. So you and I are guards. Bond comes up, we drop our guns, try to fist fight him. We both get chopped, and then the base explodes. But we're on camera. Like, they know that we tried to fight him. Let's say we didn't have guns.
I think the key is we can't have weapons. I think we need to
Yeah.
Basically be like patrolling like the woods or something, and he basically like comes across us and he just like basically knocks us out and ties us up. You know, that's the ideal kind of thing as he's sneaking into the base.
Oh, I think we figured it out, Niall. We're surviving this. We are surviving Bond. That makes me happy. We did it. This is wonderful. What's your favorite Bond movie? Not best.
Um,
Favorite. All of them. Pick one.
Gotta be on Her Majesty, not Her Majesty's Secret Service. You Only Live Twice.
Oh wow. So that's your like that. So that's just your favorite.
That's my favorite. It's so iconic for so many reasons. There are volcanoes, ninjas, ridiculously slow countdowns.
Oh man.
Wasn't there a moat full of piranhas that was like killing people as well? And there's it's just full of ridiculousness.
But it's so absurd. I mean, a volcano base. A volcano
Yeah.
base. Like that's wonderful. You can't beat that. But for me, I got into Bond quite late in life. And so my actual first exposure to Bond was when I was 13. Because I hear about most people watching Bond because their parents loved Bond. But my dad never watched Bond. My mom never watched James Bond movies. So my first experience was GoldenEye. And then, of course,
GoldenEye is a good one.
So it's my favorite. I mean, you have the game that came out that I spent way too many hours of my life playing. And then you have all the sequels. And then it led into, like, remember on TV, like in the United States, I guess you can't remember it, but they were like, hey, a marathon. You're like, oh, cool. Like, I know Bond now because of this. I guess I should watch these. And then they released special edition VHS tapes. And then they released all the DVDs. And then the Blu-ray box came out, which I cheekily put on my wedding registry and someone bought it for me, which is amazing.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I like you as a guest. You enjoy the open bar. But, yeah, I didn't get into Bond till late. I mean, my first Bond experience was Brosnan, which it's a pretty good Bond. I still stand by his movies. I like World Is Not Enough because I think Sophie Marceau is really good in that movie. I like Tomorrow Never Dies because you have Michelle Yeoh. Like, I think almost pound for pound, this might be controversial, Niall, but you have Xenia on the top, and oh man, in GoldenEye, what's her name? The other.
What was her name?
I think Vesper is probably the best. Oh, Natalia. But you have Natalia and Xena on the top, and then in Tomorrow Never Dies, you have
Terry Hatcher's character, Paris,
and Michelle Yeoh,
Paris Carver, and then
Paris, and World's Not Enough. I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of Sophie Marceau, and then you have what's the one that everyone hates?
Christmas Jones.
Christmas Jones. Oh, it's so good. And then Die Another Day. Halle Berry's fine. Everybody's good, but I love
Madonna
Rosamund Pike.
As well.
Yeah, and Rosamund Pike is actually pretty good in that movie. Like, she's a solid villain. So maybe it's just recency bias, but I think my favorite. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna say it. My favorite sort of Bond quote unquote Bond girls are in the Brosnan era. But I think Vesper is probably my favorite with Eva Green, and then Diana Rigg from On Her Majesty's Secret Service is up there as well. But I like Olga Kurylenko in Quantum of Solace too, because she never gets with Bond. She's just on her own side movie during the whole, film. But I don't know who. But this is a really hard one to ask, Niall. Pound for pound, which Bond had the best run of like ups and downs and twists and turns and quality of film? Which of the actors had the best run?
Well, it's easier, I think, to discount rather than try to figure out which one. So I think
let's take out Lazenby.
We can take out Lazenby. We can take out Dalton. I think we can take out Moore.
Yeah.
The
quality.
His movies were just silly. Yeah. Silly, campy. There are a couple of good ones in there, but for the most part, they are the poorest.
We'll drop Brosnan.
So that leaves you with Connery and Craig.
Oh.
So if you look at Connery, you start with Dr. No.
From Russia with Love. I mean, From Russia with Love, that's one of my all-time favorite Bond movies.
So you've got Dr. No, Goldfinger, You Only Live Twice, Diamonds Are Forever, and From Russia with Love.
So Craig basically has 3 good ones.
Whereas Connery has 5.
Yeah. So just by strength of percentage, it's probably Connery.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not.
If we're looking at this objectively, you could even go into the tomato meter, and I'd say it would probably be reasonably agreeing with that.
I'd probably Craig because I know Connery has some pretty low ones, does he not? Oh no, he doesn't.
If that would be if you're counting Thunderball or Never Say Never Again.
Actually, all of his movies that Connery did have over a 60% score. And that,
There you go.
wow.
Quantum of Solace does not. I think it's got a 30 something.
Yeah. Oh, wait, Quantum of Solace is 64%.
Okay, higher than I thought.
What are they? That's so odd. That's so odd. So, all right, so real quick, before we get out, like, what are your favorite moments in this movie? So, No Time to Die. I mean, there's a lot we left on the table with this movie, but it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and people don't need a play-by-play of the film. But what are your favorite moments in No Time to Die? Five.
So I like, apart from the Italian chase when it gets in the DB5, because that's the iconic Bond car,
Mm-hmm.
the old silver DB5. Next one would be the chase sequence in Cuba. So after basically when they're trying to get out after all the Spectre have been killed, and that's all kicking off where Anna de Armas kind of comes in with her car, as you mentioned, and you got like this whole kind of chaotic thing where they're just trying to escape.
Yeah, that's a good scene. I like that.
3, I think the sequence in Norway that we talked about already with the SUVs chasing them
Yeah,
through the forest.
it's like a horror movie.
That's pretty cool. 2,
Do you want me to run through some things while you compile the other ones?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I
go
love
for
all
it.
the ties. Like, Safin, my 5 is Safin wears the no mask, and then, the tie is the Dr. No. I
Yeah,
love all the Your Majesty's, like, I love the trip to Jamaica. You have, like, the Die Another Day connection with the cigar. I just kind of love the little Easter eggs in this movie. I mean, bringing back the car, like the Aston Martin, just bringing all that back. That makes me happy. I think the 4-1 for me is when you have when Bond hides underneath that stone piece and the car jumps right
oh
over
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Mathilde, I love her. I love her and her boppy. Like, she just wants her boppy. That makes me so happy. I love that scene. Let's see. I think he and Leah Sado at the end talking to each other on the walkie-talkies. They did some excellent work there. And then I'm not a big fan of the stairwell fight. It's fine. I like the Casino Royale one better, but I guess I'll have to say my fifth one is probably. Oh wow, what's my fifth one? Probably just me laughing when he survives that coffin explosion. Just he gets like he's dead, and then he pulls his phone out, and it works, and you're like, oh gosh. But yeah, those are mine. And I also love the gigantic island that he lives on, so it just makes me happy. Like, this guy has a poison garden in his family had his poison garden. It just makes me laugh. I like it. So those are mine. But what are your final
Yeah,
two?
I think one of them. I think one of them you've already mentioned would be up there, which is Bond and her name escapes me. Just
Oh,
talking to each
Madeline.
other at the end. Yeah, with Madeline, just like talking to each other at the end. That was really powerful. I really liked the last scene where Madeline's just in the car and you've got like all the time in the world playing, and she's just like, "Let me tell you about this guy. His name was Bond, James Bond," and it's just like, okay,
I love it. She's on the twisty
brings all
turny
the
roads.
feels.
All the feels. I got goosebumps, and she's on the twisty turny road, not looking at it. Makes me happy. Also, I gotta say, since I had a daughter watching this movie, it hits completely differently for me, man.
I bet.
Oh, there's a couple scenes where I just was like tearing up. I tear up so much now, man. But watching that, and like that cool girl trying to get her boppy. But yeah, no, this was cool, dude. And I really thank you for joining me to talk about this, because we've talked Bond a lot on MFF. We just never covered this one, so I'm glad we did it. And thanks for joining me.
Yeah, it's fun. It seems like we delved into a lot of different bits of Bond as well.
Was this more focused than any of the other episodes we've ever done?
I think we stayed reasonably on topic, at least within the franchise.
Yeah, we didn't vent. I think there's so much to talk about in the Bond franchise. You don't really need to pull tangents and talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, like back in the past. You don't
No.
have to jump over there. You can stay in this world.
Yeah, there's enough within the Bond world that you can just be like, okay, that calls back to this Bond movie or that Bond movie or.
Absolutely. Hey, so where can people find you?
I'm at El Nilo on Twitter. I post random stuff about rugby and occasionally movies and sometimes my work
From all over the world?
from various places in the world. Yes,
How much frequent flyer miles do you have, Niall?
not enough.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you go to different countries, so it's kind of hard to get the same. Like when I flew to
Yeah.
20 cities a year, I just took Delta. And so my miles jettisoned in the air, you get the status and all that. So,
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I've got the status with Star Alliance, which is pretty good.
well, cool, man. And also, thank you to everyone in Ireland for listening to the show. You pushed us to #1 on the film history charts, which is awesome. So, Niall, there's going to be a parade for you when you go home. Are you excited?
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. As long as there are pints of Guinness, I'll be all right.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me, man.
Cheers.
All right. So, for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for Niall Moore, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.